About the guest lecturer of the year. Every year, ELS works with well-known designers like Rudolf Verveen, Bas Kosters, Piet-Hein Eek, and Victoria Foster. And we ask them to share their knowledge and their vision with you, the students of ELS.
Dave was born in Valkenswaard, quite a place in North Brabant, and he studied design, communication and space at St. Lucas in Boxtel. Thereafter he studied at the department activity of the Design Academy in Eindhoven, and he graduated cum laude in 2013 with the projects Foam Blocks and Precious Plastic. So let's start with Foam Blocks.
Yes, we did have to start with Foam Blocks, right?
Yes.
Because it was probably your big breakthrough as a designer.
Phone Blocks was published over a month ago, a concept for a phone worth keeping. The goal was to show the world there is a need for a phone that can help reduce waste. Within the first 24 hours we had reached over 1 million views, and from there the concept continued to spread all over the world.
What do you think is your biggest achievement with Phone Blocks?
Well, I think for me it was my graduation project, and the only thing I really did was making this video. It was nothing beyond that video. So I was personally kind of amazed how much you could do with just a video, seeing that suddenly you got emails from Google and Motorola and these companies that would never send me an email just by making a video. Well, what I thought was impressive, I sat there when Google was developing this phone and the amount of resources they put into it, also just money, like a lot. And then at some point higher up, they just decided like we want to focus more on software, and then boom, everything was away.
Yeah.
And that was impressive. Just all that money and effort they put into it was just sort of,
So changing people's behavior is pretty complex, and it's extremely difficult. But have you found like a key to success in order to change people's behavior, or are you still searching?
Still searching, I would say, because you kind of fighting against industries that have a lot of budget and big teams to try to make you like that bottle, which is 2,000 times as much. So you would say that's impossible, right? Why would someone agree? But still, they manage to do that. Even here, you see more and more people buying plastic bottles or putting them at home in the fridge, that you think, why would you do that? But still, because of marketing and advertising, they manage to do that. So it's kind of a beast that you need to fight, which is challenging, I would say.
So you came up with a new concept. It's called Precious Plastic. And I was curious about the concepting process. So how did you came up with the idea? What was your process?
So I think I usually start to work from a problem. So just as the Foam Blocks video, I started looking into phone waste, that we got a lot of it. And by plastic, it was really, we have a lot of plastic waste. So we produce millions of tons of plastic new each year. And then they say less than 10% of it gets recycled. So most of it ends up in the ocean, it gets burned or it goes to the landfill. But all these are kind of shitty because the material is actually made to recycle. So if you heat it up, you can turn it into something new. But for some reason, it doesn't happen. Again, I didn't know why. So then I started just working on that as a topic, like how can we make sure we recycle more plastic?
I can imagine you spend a lot of time creating the idea. Aren't you afraid that by putting it online and making it available for everyone, that someone will steal your idea and take the credit for the work that you've done?
No, so I think when I start, you always start off with this problem, like phone waste, plastic waste, whatever it is. And then the goal is to solve that problem. So I think if people use your idea, it's even a good thing. Like the more people using it, the better, because you're getting together towards solving this problem. So I actually always try to make it in a way that other people can use it, because then you can work on it together and not just from one person. I think end of the day, it is important that you do something that you like. So even though you shouldn't force yourself, for instance, in, I don't know, trying to make the world better or solving problems, I think end of the day it's also important that you like what you do, and if you're happy, you sort of make a happy environment that people get happier. And so I think if you do that, it will be okay.
Dave, we all know you from phone blogs and precious plastic, but you also have another project.
Yes.
It's called Story Hopper, and stories worth sharing.
Sure. I guess just when I look at the world or do research, you come across interesting things you see, or like landfills you see in Africa, or I don't know, just things you experience and try. And I always like to do a little bit more with that than just make a picture and put it in my diary or something. Sometimes I feel these stories are worth sharing. And I like to turn them into projects, but I can handle only so many projects. Like the e-waste thing was quite a big project, and plastic was still is quite a big project. But it also feels like a waste if you can't do anything with it. So I started this Story Hopper, it's called, where I just make short videos of it. So if I see a problem or something interesting or something I learned, that I can just share it, because I think those things should be shared.
Okay, then these were all the questions for you, Dave. So now it's
it.
time to get to the next part, and maybe a little drum roll is in place. Yes. And maybe a little hint, it's the fast fashion challenge. Yeah.
Ooh. So, in fact, you're going to challenge our students to come up with something which has to do with fast fashion. Can you explain a little?
Yeah. Okay. So this topic has been bugging me for years, but I never really had the full time to work on it. But throughout the years, I've seen quite some documentaries and videos about fashion and what it does, like stuff like this, like it generates a lot of waste. I was also in Cambodia like a year ago on a landfill there, and usually landfills are full of plastic, but there you actually had a lot of textile waste because a lot of clothes come from Cambodia or Vietnam. So that area, you just see like it has a huge footprint. And just like with foam blocks or with plastic, this is another one of those things, like this huge global issue that people need to start working on. I actually heard recently that it was the second most polluting industry. So you had the oil and the gas, and then fashion. I didn't know it was that huge. And I think just too little people work on this, and because the problem is so big. So yeah, we need people to work on that.